I've titled this "Why Socialism Isn't Sexy." Okay, so there's a stat out there, more stats, or a report that attractiveness is associated with the belief that economic success is dependent on individual effort rather than external circumstances. Okay, So let me say that again. Attractiveness is associated with the belief that economic success is dependent on individual effort, what you do, rather than external circumstances, aka what's going on around the world around you, aka making up excuses. So here's some of the details of this story, and we'll open it up for the panel. So physical attractiveness is associated with higher wages, better jobs, and even higher cognitive outcomes, okay? Attractive individuals are more likely to attribute economic success to individual effort, like we talked about, as opposed to the external circumstances. Now, these researchers have said that earning more money, attractive people become less favorable towards socialism and more favorable towards capitalism. You know, the redistribution of wealth, they're not so much into that. So, you know, my whole thing is, I understand this. If there's anything that I hate are complainers. Victim mentality, you know, excuse makers. Oh, it wasn't my fault. Oh, like me, yo, my bad. Like, even when she called me out, like, hey, about the women, I was like, yeah, that's me. That's on me right there. Right. I'll do better. Mm-hmm. There's so many, I feel like, especially, I mean, not to get too political right here, and this would, there's a lot of people, you know, Pat talks about the doers and the complainers. And for so long, the doers didn't have a microphone. They were too busy doing. Yeah. Now with social media, all these complainers out there, let's just use AOC as an example. There's not fair, this and that. Oh my God. Like, complainers now have a megaphone. So you guys are all very successful. This isn't a political conversation. I don't care if you're left, right, up, down, green, purple, but you must have, like, what do you owe to your success? Let's just start with you, Jed. A lot of it has to do with, you know, your ability to get out there and do your thing, an individual effort, right? Right. So the victim mentality, like talked about, is very unattractive. What characteristics do you owe your success to?
So I think I believed in myself. I really did. I remember telling my friend, like, I was a teacher. I was a school teacher, and I was just, you know, regular girl in New York City making not a great salary. And I remember turning on The View one day and saying, I was on the phone with my friend Lauren, and I said, yeah, I think I'm going to do that next. And she laughed, and I said, yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do television. I'm going to get into that. I just really felt like I was good at it. I believed in myself. I was motivated. I was confident. And I think that that's attractive to people. You know, you started this with attractiveness. Attractive people tend to be confident. You know, they're not looking for you to do for them. They're looking to do for themselves. Attractive, confident, belief in yourself, personal responsibility. If I screw up, it's on me. It's not your fault. I think that's all attractive. And I think, you know, the media business for me was full of, I mean, look, I just told the story about The View. I'm riding high on this wave. I have this amazing job, big ass paycheck. 2 days later, I'm like, oh, I guess I'll just sit home and file my nails for the next 6 months, you know? And with media, you don't know where the next job's going to be. You don't know if you're going to get employed again. You don't know when that's coming. It's like a constant hustle. But I think that believing in yourself, putting your best foot forward, and you know, knowing that your success is in large part dependent upon what you do and what you bring to the table, that's not only attractive, but that is necessary for you to be successful in any industry. I mean, anybody who's been successful will say, I pounded the pavement. Like, unless your dad handed you a business or, you know, you were born with a silver spoon. People have had to really work hard to get where they are. That's admirable. It's attractive. And it's not that victim dependent. What are you going to do for me? No one wants that. Even you were saying before, you know, guys aren't focused on what a woman makes in terms of a salary. You may not be focused on the numbers, but you'll find a woman who's confident, who really goes for something, who's passionate. Yeah. That will be appealing to you. That energy will radiate through a room before someone who's saying, oh, hey, Adam, what are you going to get me for Christmas? I mean, that gets real old real fast.
Oh, believe me, I know.
So...
Shani, would you like to go next? What do you attribute that your success to? And again, you're also in media. Yeah. I've seen you on TV, local news.
You like to ask two questions at a time, so I'll answer the first one and the second one.
Because you attribute your success.
He's telling you what you did wrong. I love this.
No, that's not what I did wrong. He just asked two questions at a time. You know, so I want to make sure that I answer both. So
I asked one question. What do you attribute your success to?
So the first question, what I attribute to my success would be resilience. I find myself to be a very resilient person. I know how to respond to a a lot of various situations, and I'm resilient. I'm resilient. The other question, right, when we look at and we say people are complainers and, things like that, oftentimes I do believe that people who we would consider complainers, they may have some different economic barriers that some of us do not have. So it's very difficult, especially for me as a woman of color, not to even speak of the disparity of opportunities that are given to you when you're just in a different demographic, when you are educated in a different neighborhood, when you attend a different college, when your friends are different, when, those things also play a role in the barriers. Not that you cannot overcome those barriers, because I do consider myself to be resilient, but those factors are present. So I don't always necessarily consider you to be a complainer, but I will say these are your set of resistant points, no matter what they may be, whether they're educational, economical, physical. This is what you have to overcome to experience achievement. So I don't always just say, hey, you're complaining, but it's like, what are you complaining about? Did you grow up in a poverty-stricken neighborhood where, educational resources were not in abundance to you? So what it would have taken for you to be able to pass the SAT to get into a college or a university is different. Did your parents have money for you to go to school? What was that equation like for you? And what did you have to overcome to, get to that achievement? So
I number one, you are resilient. So respect to that. To your second point, I hear you. Not everyone, everyone
agrees.
starts in different places. But I also tend to agree with, nobody cares, work harder. We are in America here. It's not like, you don't have, this is still the land of opportunity. Some people, I've seen that thing where the guy says, take 2 steps forward. If you are raised in if your parents are married, 2 people step forward. Take 2 steps forward if you were raised in a good neighborhood, blah, blah, blah. And then there's a lot of people, and quite candidly, a lot of them were people of color, blacks, Latinos, what have you, that were further back.
Yes.
And then there were some white people that were further up. I get it. Okay, but at the end of the day, it's still you got to start with where you're at.
Yes, I totally agree with that argument that you do have to work with the circumstances in which you were given, what it is that you're dealt. But the only thing, the sensitivity that I have is that I will not necessarily see you as a complainer just because there's a empathic part of myself that might understand that resilience. One of the things that I had to be really, really resilient about is right around COVID, I got into a really, really bad car accident. It was like really, really bad. I had like a whole bunch of PTSD. It was really, really crazy. And that was the first time that I had like any type of restriction on my mental health, right? Where, this PTSD was running so rampant in my body that I was experiencing anxiety at very, very high levels. So what it took for me to remain grounded, to show up for my children, you understand what I'm saying? To be present for them, to cook for them every day while managing my business, while going through a divorce, all of this was a lot, right? So it took a different level of Shani to be able to respond to that and for it not to take me out. So that is one of the many scenarios that has made me very empathetic to, what are your challenges in terms of, before I would look at you and say that you are a complainer, what are some of those things? Now, did I have to overcome that and not be able to use that to create some economic limitations for my children? Yes. No, I cannot use it as an excuse, but I don't see you as a complainer. I do need to, move through that. And I was able to afford therapy. You understand? I was able to sit in the presence of a psychiatrist and, see what my levels were and decide, no, I don't want any medication for this because of my intelligence, of my economic, capability. But I am fully aware that many people don't have access to those resources to get any support in some of those very strenuous scenarios, especially while going through a divorce, So it's very.
She brings up a really great point,
Yeah.
by the way, that a lot of people often talk about white privilege, and what they really should be talking about is green privilege, financial privilege, because it really does. You can say work harder, but I think it would help everybody to acknowledge that if you come out of a family where you have, a lot of money in your family and a big old house, and you don't have debt coming out of college, you're not nearly as exhausted as somebody who's been doing that fight since like teenage years. That financial fight.
It doesn't give you a pass.
It doesn't give you a pass. You do have to work harder. You can make it to the top. You can be the CEO. This is America, land of opportunity, but it's a very different journey and a much harder one for that person.
I don't want to be the stat guy, but I believe that 80% of millionaires are first generation millionaires. Yeah. Okay, so like you can do it.
Yeah. And sometimes that is the fuel, right? Not having the green privilege.
Yeah.
Sometimes
and then sometimes when you get to those guys after having to use that as their fuels, they're different to parent. They're different to coexist with because they've had to shut down so many parts of themselves to get there. So I'm with you. You can't,
Well, this guy right here is a first generation millionaire. He's killed it.
Awesome.
So, you weren't raised with a silver spoon in Michigan, right?
Nope.
So what do you owe your success to?
Pure, untethered, unbridled, unmatched, burning fucking desire. Full stop.
Desire to be rich, successful.
So,
what was
this
it?
is good. So as a kid, I thought I'm trying to be rich one day, but what I really wanted was access. So I could see television, I could see movies, I could see magazines. I want that. I want that. I want to go there. I want to go there. I want to be able to do what everyone, what the world has to offer, right? So you see it all. Well, who the fuck does that? Oh, someone who's rich. Okay, how do you get money? I can't sing, can't dance, can't rhyme, can't act, can't play an instrument, not gonna do anything illegal. Sports it is. So played college baseball.
Yeah.
While playing college baseball, got introduced to entrepreneurship. Why the fuck they never taught the word entrepreneurship? K through 12, 14,000 hours of school, not counting detention. I don't know. Word never came up once. So I learned entrepreneurship at 18. I said, this is over. I'm gonna kill this. And that was it. So millionaire by 25, decamillionaire by 30. And it was all because I had always had the drive to be able to have freedom. Freedom. So when I said access, the word I meant is freedom. Freedom to go. People are like, well, I'm free. I have a backpack. Fuck that. I want a helicopter to pick me up when I'm done. I want a shower. What are you talking about? Yeah, I get it. You're free. You're running through the jungle. Sure. I want to do that trip too. But at the end, I want to at least go get a shower in a nice hotel, So freedom is the word. And, I just went through the check boxes of a middle-class family, and we were all four. My grandparents, same factory. Dad, same factory. Uncles, brothers, all worked there at some point. So I just found the off-ramp. Finally, I got lucky to find entrepreneurship at 18. So, when somebody says, hey, yeah, you can climb it all the way to CEO, that's not what entrepreneurship is. You fucking start as the CEO. It's not climb, it's start it top down, right? That's the real American dream is not climbing the corporate ladder. The real American dream is starting the corporate ladder. And when I'm super ultra sensitive to everyone's position and argument always. I have a lot of emotional intelligence and try to listen to both sides. But it only takes one story of somebody of the worst of worst circumstances of any person who doesn't look like me to come from another country as an immigrant and fucking wipe out and own everyone else's shit and be like, you see that? While you were crying about what you didn't get for the last 30 years, this dude walked into your country. This lady walked into your country and owns the building you live in, right? Yeah. It's like, that's the American dream.
Yeah, I'm always mesmerized to see how much immigrants love America.
They value the opportunity.
And then you have these fifth generation kids that have parents have been here forever. And they're screaming socialism. It's like, go move to Venezuela, buddy. Let me know how that works out for you.
That's it.
So if you like that clip, click right here to watch another. Or if you want to watch the entire Saucecast, click right here.